Hello, my name is Cindy Mendez, and in this opportunity, I will talk about the audio-lingual method, which is an oral-based approach to drill students in the use of grammatical sentence patterns. And I would like to say that it was called the Army method since it served to train their allies in order to achieve proficiency in the second language. And this method was popular in the 60s but died out in the 70s, although the audiolingual method is still in use today, but normally as part of individual lessons rather than as the foundation of the course. And it is focused on the pronunciation and train their ability of listening by dialogues and drills, and also allows the students to communicate quickly. Some characteristics of this method are new material is presented in dialogue form, and very little of the mother tongue by the teacher is permitted. The second characteristic is there is dependence of mimicry, memorization of set phrases, and overlearning. And there is much use of tapes, language labs, and visual aids. And the third characteristic is structures are sequenced by means of contrastive analysis by taught one at a time, but there is a tendency to manipulate language and disregard content. Also, we have structural patterns are taught using repetitive drills, but because great importance is attached to pronunciation. Successful responses are immediately reinforced, and there is a great effort to get students to produce error-free utterances. And the last characteristic that I consider was important is that there is little or no grammatical explanation, since grammar is taught by inductive analogy rather than by deductive explanation, and vocabulary is strictly limited and learned in the context. And the some techniques, there are a large variety of techniques, well, by using this method, but I would like to mention the most common that, or at least some of which I have been involved. And the first technique um, that I consider is the dialogue memorization. This technique is quite common, and I remember that when I was in elementary school, teachers used to use it a lot. So, in this, students memorize an opening dialogue using mimicry and applied role playing. Um, and the second technique is repetition drills. This is another common technique. Um, this one is used even in the university, I think, and I used to use it also in my teaching practices. And in this, students repeat the teacher's model as quickly and accurately as possible. And the next technique is transformation drill. In this technique, teacher provides a sentence that must be turned into something else. I remember that university teachers use it when teaching tenses. For example, the teacher says a sentence in present continuous, and the students must transform it into negative or into interrogative one. Um, This is very common too. And the last technique is the questions and answer drills. This technique is also commonly used by the English teachers, and I also used to use it in my teaching practices. And students should answer or ask questions very quickly in these techniques, right? There are other techniques in this method, but I consider this one as the most useful in teaching, right? Well, hoping to have been clear as I want to share, and thank you for your attention.